Hope you all had a good weekend. Cam Poitras, Jim Toth. Jim, how are you?
Happy Monday. Ready to reheat some stuff.
It's the Monday
Friday
Reheat.
leftovers.
Yeah,
good. How are you?
Free-for-all Friday leftovers.
Free-for-all.
Bringing in the Monday Reheat. We'll get to some of your text messages that we did not get to on Friday. And there's some real great text messages. Show's going to be cut short today again, as we'll bring you the wildfire update here in the province at 12:45. So just make sure you take note of that. We might be cut a little bit. We might be cut a lot. But it's scheduled to start at 12:45. So just be ready for that. Jets and Noon is brought to you by Wash Method Car Wash, 690 St. Anne's Road. VIP take on the text line. We'll win a VIP car wash from my good friends at Wash Method, 204-780-6868. We'll announce the winner later in the show as we come at you live from the Boston Pizza Studio. Try the new Triple Pep Pizza only at Boston Pizza. We will get to those leftovers. We'll reheat those leftovers in just a second here, Jim. But there is tons of Jets news coming out of the weekend. We kick the show off. We're going to get to some comments from Chris Johnston in regards to Nikolaj Ehlers' contract talks and where those are. Dmitry Reshevsky in the KHL. There's some news coming out about him as well out in the K. We'll touch on that in just a few seconds here. But Connor Hellebuyck. There's been a leak, Jim. Now, none of this has been confirmed for many reasons why the NHL and the and no one will confirm this because it's a leak, right? And obviously this is information, if it is true, that should have come out later after cross-referencing some things in the photo. And if you want to see the photo, just go to my X account. I posted it on X, Cam at Noon, CAMATNOON. Find it on X. Give me a follow too as well. This to me seems legit. I don't think this is AI. People put it through. So I saw some people put it through some AI things, some AI searches. I don't think this is artificial intelligence or whatever, which we have to be aware of now in today's day and age. But in this photo, it shows Connor Hellebuyck, which has not been announced yet by the NHL, but this kind of happens if you don't have an award show. And beside him, Jim, are two trophies. One of them is the Vezina. The other one is the Hart Trophy as the league's MVP. He's got both of them in front of him. He's kneeling down. So, yeah. I mean, if this photo did leak and it is correct, Connor Hellebuyck has won his third Vezina after his fifth nomination and has also won the Hart Trophy and is the league's MVP. What do you think about that, Jim? That is pretty mightily impressive.
I don't know. Like, again, a leak is a leak. Somebody's getting fired if they leak this.
Someone's in big trouble. I think it is true. And that's just my perspective on it. Looking at it,
I always question things on social media, and then I question it more with AI. So I don't know if it is or not, but we'll find out soon enough, right? But my thing today is, would it shock you if he won the Hart Trophy? And to me, it would not. And here's why, Cam. Because he is the best at his position and has been for several years now. He's about to win his third and back-to-back Vezina. So for the past 2 seasons, he's been the best goalie on the planet. And he got better this year. And whenever you have an exceptional player at the best of his position and he actually gets better, I can see why the MVP talk circles around it. Now, I'm appalled it's not Nikita Kucherov. What is with the Kucherov hate? You know how I feel. He should have won it when McKinnon did. Don't get me started.
He should have won last year. And Jim, you know what? He probably should have won this year too. But actually, no, I won't say that. I think Connor Hellebuyck deserves to win.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It would not surprise me so I don't know, a year ago, maybe I would have been surprised with the year McKinnon and Kucherov had and stuff like that. This year, it does not surprise me that Connor Hellebuyck is not only nominated for the Hart Trophy, but if he should it be confirmed that he has won this year's Hart Trophy, the first goalie since 2015 with Carey Price. He's the best goalie on the planet. Mm-hmm. And I can't wait for 780-6868. Trade him now. They'll never win in the playoffs.
Oh, no, we'll get to that. We'll get to that. We got a text message like that.
He is the best player at his position, and now he is could be this week the best player in the National Hockey League this year.
Yeah.
So, he is.
Yeah.
And I have no problem with that because I've been telling people for about 5 years now who keep pointing to the last 3 years of playoffs and refuse to look at the previous year's playoffs run where he was exceptional, that he is the best player on the planet at his position.
We will talk about cherry-picked stats in just a little bit. We'll get to that after 12:30 when we read a text message.
So it doesn't surprise me, and I think it's an absolute honor, and I think Jets fans should be thrilled that they not only have their first major trophy award winner 2 times, about to be 3 with the Vezina, become the first Jets 1.0 or 2.0 to win the Hart Trophy.
And that means if he's got the Hart, Jim, there's only one left. There's only one left to win. That's it. That's it. There's only one left to win.
Conn Smythe.
Okay, too, yeah. Chris Johnston on the Chris Johnston show talked about Nikolaj Ehlers likely to hit the market. Chris Johnston, of course, he's been on our show before. He's with TSN. He said, at this point, I haven't heard that he's 100% made the decision to move forward with free agency, but it feels like that's where he is headed. Johnston went on to mention Chicago and Carolina, which he said would both make a lot of sense. A fair number of suitors would be out there for Nikolaj Ehlers. Many teams would be after his abilities, and he will get a raise. Now, Jim, this isn't surprising to me, and I'll ask you if it is. But this is, if you've been listening to Jets at Noon a lot, this is something that we've continually reported for a long time.
Yes. That
this is where things have been heading for a while. Now, there always was that option of him staying. And as you heard from Kevin Cheveldayoff, who said that they wanted to make Nikolaj Ehlers, give him that unique opportunity to be a Jet for life.
Yes.
But there was always this chance that he was open to something different. What do you think?
So I think that's just it. I think they've offered him $7 or $7.5 million for 8 years. And I don't know that. Like, I'm not saying this is what they've offered him in this range. I'm not saying that. My impression is they've offered him $7 to $7.5 million for 8 years, or 7 years.
Yeah.
But probably 8. And I think he's taken that and under the understanding that his agent is like, you're probably looking at 8.5 other places, potentially 9 in some places. And then there's probably some contending teams that will pay you 8. And some of those contenders that I think this is the agent I'm thinking that will come around is it doesn't take a genius. You look at the Carolinas, you look at maybe even the Leafs, if they lose Marner, they need a winger. And maybe, but I know from the guys that I'm on with Sportsnet Radio in Vancouver, Halford and Bruff have said that the Canucks are highly interested in his services and interested to the tune of $9 million. Now, do you think the Canucks have a chance to win the Stanley Cup in the next 8 years? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. And I think that that's where it sits. And I think the way Kevin Cheveldayoff does business is, here's the offer, Nick. If you want to test free agency, we get that, but we would love to have you. We'd love to keep you. This is what fits for us, and this is what fits for us in this market in order to win a Stanley Cup, which is what we're all about.
Correct.
Which is what we're trying to do.
Yeah.
And Nick takes that and goes, okay, and he talks to his agent, he talks to his family, and his family's like, well, I mean, what are we talking? Is it 7.5? Could you get 8.5? Does that matter to you? And if you live in a different place, does that matter to you? Now, Nick loves Winnipeg. I want to emphasize that.
Oh, yeah.
The Ehlers I know, which I haven't talked to him personally in a long time, but he loves Winnipeg. And I've talked to people who do talk to him. He has no problem living in Winnipeg. But you don't have to hate Winnipeg to look at Carolina, to look at Vancouver, to look at and maybe want to experience that kind of lifestyle along with a chance to win.
He signed long-term here. He signed a long-term deal.
He's always signed here.
Yeah.
That's why he's still here.
And just quickly before we go to break here, we'll squeeze this in here. Dmitry Reshevsky, this is according to the Hockey News, is expected to sign a 3-year contract with the KHL's Avangard Omsk. And they're waiting, that's the only way I know how to say it is Omsk.
I think that is how you say it.
And are awaiting Dynamo Moscow, his previous team, awaiting a decision for them. This is according to Dylan Griffin, who was a Jets 5th-round pick in 2021. Now, if this is true, and he's going to be staying in the K for another 3-year term, he would not be able to play with the Jets until he's 28. So he'd still be in his prime. He could still play with the Jets in the future here. But
can you not leave those contracts?
I don't know the details of it.
I don't either. That's why I'm asking.
There's a, you know what? I'll find out. But I think there's There's a deal that the KHL and the NHL signed.
Yeah,
where there's no. Back
I think there was a time where if
it
was a 2-year deal, you had to honor at least the first year, and then you could look at it. I don't know. Like, it's all parameters. You can put anything in your contract.
Okay, I'm gonna find.
By the way, Kucherov won this year's Ted Lindsay Award. That was on the weekend.
That's a very
the National Hockey League Players Association.
That's a major award.
The players themselves feel that he was the best player in the National Hockey League.
They don't matter.
Stop the Kucherov hate. Just because he got
Hearts?
absolutely loaded at an all-star event and was too hungover to perform does not mean you're not deserving of major awards. Just the fact that he went tarpless and said, come on, Montreal. You guys won one game. You act like you win the Stanley Cup. Come on. Nobody believed you were going to win this. He
also went after Connor Hellebuyck. He goes, oh, come on. Who's this guy wins Vezina?
Yeah.
Who wins Vezina? No, we have best goaltender. Well, it's like, of course you think you have the best goalie. That's fine, but come on.
Stop the Kucherov hate.
You know what? I think Andrei Vasilevsky and Connor Hellebuyck are they're pretty like even, I would say. I think statistically in like regular season, I think Hellebuyck is better, but you can't. I will not poo-poo.
Is Kucherov going to go his whole career without winning a Hart Trophy?
He's won already.
Oh, yes, he has.
That's why they won't give him another one, because he said he's already won one. Let's take a break. Let's come back.
Well, now he's being selfish.
On the other side, hey, as we go, let's start the Monday reheat. We'll start it when we come back. There's actually a pretty good idea from Billy. Gives us about helping out the tax situation with the no-tax states, Tennessee, Texas, Florida, Nevada, and what the Canadian government can do to help the Canadian franchises. I think Billy's thinking creative. I'll tell you what he's put out there when we come back.
Billy.
Cameron Poitras and Jim Toth on 680 CJOB.
So we'll get to Billy's take here, but I just want to read the NHL and KHL player movement. Free agency. Players who are under contract with the KHL are not allowed to leave for the NHL midseason. However, if a player has an expiring contract or is an unrestricted free agent, they can sign with an NHL team. Contractual obligations include a KHL player who signs with an NHL team must honor the contract terms with the KHL team until the KHL contract expires. In other words, a player cannot simply leave their KHL team in the middle of a contract without negotiating a release, which often involves compensation or a buyout. So
good to know.
That's the ongoing situation there. So here is Billy from St. James Solution. He says about federal taxes and the no tax states and all that. He says, Cam and Jim, a special federal tax status for elite athletes that claim residency in Canada for 9 to 12 months a year. NHL, CFL, women's leagues, Olympic athletes, they all benefit. This creates a reverse tariff effect for building the Canadian sports landscape. That one from Billy. So essentially do that for NHL players to make it easier for them to, or give them a little bit of a tax incentive to come to Canada. Well, I think you're being creative here, Billy. And I don't want to just, I don't think it's a political win to give, in this country, to give millionaires massive tax breaks.
Tax breaks is not the answer.
Yeah, so I think you're thinking creatively here, but I could not see this being a political,
Billy,
a political win. I don't see that.
Don't run for mayor of St. James under giving millionaire hockey players tax breaks,
or do Billy,
Billy,
and let
us know how
fight
it
for
goes.
tax breaks for lower middle class radio announcers.
Yes.
I'd love a tax break.
Oh, I could get me out of a couple jams if you could get one. But no, look, this is on the NHL to fix. But again, it's not as big of a problem as I think we all think it is.
Call the Boston Pizza Jets at noon hotline, open 24/7, 204-780-6800. Dig into the new Triple Pep Pizza and Double Trouble Nachos, available now only at Boston Pizza. They got a hot take on Connor Hellebuyck, who apparently may have won the Hart Trophy. I'll tell you what that is when we come back. Brought to you by Wash Method Car Wash, 690 St. Anne's Road. VIP take on the text line to win a VIP car wash from our good friends at Wash Method, 204-780-6868. We'll announce the winner later in the program as we come at you live from the Boston Pizza Studio. Try the new Triple Pep Pizza only at Boston Pizza. Quick reminder, just over 10 minutes, about 12 minutes or so, we will be coming at you live with the 12:45 Manitoba wildfire update. So just be aware that the show may get cut a little short as we bring you vital and important wildfire information here in the province of Manitoba. Download the Jets at Noon podcast free now on Apple, Spotify, Amazon Music, wherever you find your favorite podcasts, with exclusive Jets talking content only found there. Take Jets at Noon wherever you go and continue the conversation whenever you want. So Dylan sent us a text message, Jim.
Hang on real quick. We forgot. Well, didn't forget, but Spencer Carberry also won the Jack Adams.
Yes.
This is all stuff I assume everybody knows.
Yeah.
And then you looked at the voting. Scott O'Neill did finish second.
Correct.
But it wasn't even close.
No.
Like everybody, he took a Washington team that a lot of people, including myself, thought wouldn't make the playoffs. Mm-hmm. Not only one made the playoffs, but
he did a phenomenal job.
And,
Spencer Carberry did a phenomenal job. So did Scott O'Neill.
Scott O'Neill did too, yeah.
So congratulations to Scott O'Neill. Actually, the winning text message, I'll give it to Keith right now. Keith was the winning text message. I was going to get to this a little bit later in the show, but he said, what gets me steamed is that O'Neill is not coach of the year. That's our VIP text.
There we go.
That wins the VIP car wash from my good friends at Wash Method. No, like this is so subjective because both coaches did such a great job. But the Jets made the playoffs last year. They finished second in the Central. I know that they got bounced by Colorado the previous year, but they didn't have, and Washington made the playoffs too, but they really had no business in the playoffs in the Eastern Conference the previous year. Spencer Carberry did a great job. So
yeah, and I want to say,
I get it. Do I like Scott O'Neill would have been a very deserving winner of the Jack Adams, 100%. But I think so is Spencer Carberry.
So is it harder to take a team that wasn't expected to make the playoffs and not only make the playoffs but finish first in their conference than taking a fourth place overall team, second in the West, and taking them to first? Like the distance traveled is less for Scott O'Neill.
Yeah.
But I would argue it's just as difficult to have a really good season, roster predominantly the same, and get even better. Like that, I think is
See, I don't.
But if say the Capitals finished third in the East, I don't. But to finish first, like it wasn't just like will they make the playoffs? It was number one with a bullet, right?
Yeah.
So I understand why it went Carberry's way, and unfortunately, I think that's the way the voting always goes. It's the most distance traveled, and you took a really good team and made them better, as opposed to you take a really weak team and put them into first. I get why the voting goes that way.
Yeah, and listen, I don't have a vote, but if I would have had a vote, I would have voted for Scott O'Neill. I would have voted for him.
Yeah. I don't know. Like I'm still undecided on it. That's why I kind of wanted to see where the voting went.
I wouldn't have voted for Martin St. Louis. That's for sure.
I wouldn't have given Martin St. Louis one vote.
I would have put him in like 20th or something. Just like out of spite.
I think Dean Evison did a better job than Martin St. Louis with that Columbus team.
I'm joking. I would have put him in probably.
I'm not joking.
No, I would have put him in 6th or 7th, but I would not have put him in the top 3.
I am not joking.
St. Louis.
I would not have voted Martin St. Louis once. And I'm sorry. It's not because I don't like the Habs or anything like that. You had you have this roster you've been building for years, and you got them into the playoffs. Fair enough. Mm-hmm. It's nothing that Dean Evison and the job he did with everything that Columbus team went through and how he galvanized that team and got them so they were knocking on the door of the playoffs. It's nowhere near in comparison to what Scott O'Neill or Carberry did.
Well, I agree.
It's Montreal, right? So Montreal got into the playoffs. Oh, coach of the year. Yeah. He's my point about Carberry.
Yeah.
I would vote for St. Louis if he took Montreal from not being a playoff team to finishing third in the East. I would vote for you then. You barely got him into the playoffs.
Let's change. Let's change subjects here.
I need a shower. I'm fired up.
No, it's okay. I get you. We got a text message here. It came down. There was a leaked photo of Connor Hellebuyck, not really posing. He was kind of crouched. Obviously, he was not prepared that this photo would be taken, but he's posing somewhat. He's kind of crouched down with the Hart and the Vezina. Is this legit? I guess we're going to find out. But there's been a leaked photo of Connor Hellebuyck with both trophies as the league's MVP and as the top goaltender in the NHL. I think the Vezina has been a foregone conclusion this whole time. But the Hart, of course, I'm not sure it would be a surprise, but an amazing achievement. So we were kind of singing, Connor Hellebuyck's praises, rightfully so. Dylan says, text the show 204-780-6868. He says, you guys are biased. Well, if we're biased with a Hart Trophy winner, allegedly, or a possible Hart Trophy winner, as well as a possible 3-time Vezina winner, I don't think we can be biased by putting our more eggs in the Connor Hellebuyck basket than outside of it.
How are we biased when the guy has won 3 Vezina? Well,
we don't pick.
He's
the
been
Vezina
nominated
winner.
5 times, and you think we're biased when we try to tell you that Connor Hellebuyck is good?
We don't pick the Vezina winner. It is picked by people outside of the city of Winnipeg and outside of the province of Manitoba. Okay, that's who picks the Vezina. Anyways,
I know people are going to bring up playoffs, but look, he's had 3 seasons where his numbers are terrible. He's also had 3 seasons where his numbers are good. And in this playoffs alone, he's had 1 series where they weren't that great, and he's had 1 season where 1 series where he was great.
Who votes for the Vezina, Jim? General managers of the National Hockey League.
So there's 32 general managers who feel like if they had a choice, for all those people asking, great regular season but no postseason, great regular season but not a money goaltender, there are 32 GMs that for the 3rd time would take him in a heartbeat.
Yes, correct.
So I don't get the you guys are biased, you guys are. Cam, how many times over the years have I said?
Well, then, Jim, if we're biased, then every other general manager in the NHL is also biased.
Even towards another team's goalie.
Yeah, exactly.
How many? I've been saying this for 4 years now. Plus, you are watching a Hockey Hall of Fame career as it's in the heart of it. Oh, heart, no pun intended. But in the middle of a Hockey Hall of Fame career, you're witnessing this, and yet there are still people that text us and go, they need to trade him.
Such like Anonymous, who texted us as we go back to the Monday leftovers. Anonymous says, please put your name on here. It just makes this so much better. But he says, he or she, not unknown, but I know you will hate my take. But Edmonton has proven you can get far without an elite goalie. All you need to win is a good goalie. Winnipeg can't and won't win with Hellebuyck. Trade him, fill the holes that clearly they have with proven winners. There are lots of good goalies out there to fill the net, or just be happy with good regular seasons and heartache in the playoffs. Teams that want to win don't care about the President's Trophy banners. They mean nothing. Now, I would love to get involved with this individual soothsaying for making certainty statements like can't and won't. I'd love to get together and get in on a lottery pick because I think we can make a lot of money together here, but can you win? The question is, can you win a Stanley Cup with a multiple Vezina winner? Detroit with Hasek? Yes. Montreal and Colorado with Waugh? Yes. New Jersey with Brodeur? Yes. Boston with Tim Thomas? Yes. Florida with Bobrovsky? Yes. Dallas with Belfour? So if you're going to go out there and make definitive and concrete statements by cherry-picking playoff stats, I'll give you those stats, Jim.
I'll add one more. Edmonton hasn't proven that you can win with a good goalie. They've proven that they needed a backup goalie to get the other good goalie good. They never would have beat LA in the first round if they didn't switch goalies. Now, Stewart deserves a lot of credit. He's playing phenomenal. But if you're starting a season and you're picking a goalie, you're picking Stuart Skinner over Hellebuyck?
Miss your chance to get your thoughts on the show today. Call the Boston Pizza Jets and Noon hotline, open 24/7, 204-780-6800. Dig into the new Triple Pep Pizza and Double Trouble Nachos, available now only at Boston Pizza. We might be back. The wildfire update here on 680 CJOB will carry you live at 12:45. Or we could follow up some more Jets talk. You're going to want to hear either side. Don't go anywhere.
Poitras and Jim Toth on 680 CJOB.
So the wildfire update here in the province of Manitoba could go at any moment. As soon as it begins, we will bring you live right to that important wildfire update here in the province of Manitoba. Let's continue on with our Monday reheat from the Free for All Friday leftovers. This text comes from Betty, who says, gentlemen, Oilers, Panthers, Stars, and Hurricanes are not even in the top 7 of the biggest teams in the NHL. Food for thought. That's from Betty. I looked into this.
Size.
The tallest teams, top 5 tallest teams in the NHL are Vegas, Boston, the Rangers, Toronto, and Washington. The biggest teams in terms of average weight are Toronto, the Rangers, LA, Boston, and Vegas. So Boston, Toronto, and the Rangers are the 3 biggest teams in the NHL. We constantly hear this, and we will continue to constantly hear this about the Winnipeg Jets lacking size. That's what's going to get them over the hump, is if they bring in bigger guys.
So size doesn't matter?
In certain contexts, Jim, it always matters.
I knew it!
It's interesting. And so what we always hear around this too as well, Jim, is that, well, those teams, the Rangers in Boston and Toronto, they have size, but they don't play like they have size. So that's always, it's so convenient when the goalposts constantly get moved, right?
And there's,
well, it's like, but they have big players, and the Jets need big players, but they need those big players to play like they're big players. I can't wrap my mind around that mental pretzel. It doesn't make sense to me.
And then there's some smaller teams who win, and they're like, well, that's because they play big.
Yeah.
Look, we discussed this on Friday. It was a great discussion. Look, if you can have it and you can pick and choose it, by all means, but it's not a defining factor that wins you cups.
Yeah.
It helps. And again, I just go back to how the Jets lost. You can have the grit, conversation more than
toughness,
size, I believe. Like you can, Connor Garland in Vancouver is one of the grittiest, toughest players ever, and he's tiny.
If the Jets lacked grit and toughness, they would have never been able to get out of the first round against St. Louis.
I can't believe we're having this conversation about how they eked out and I'll say eked out that series because St. Louis was not bigger, but more physical and took it to them, and they still won the series.
Yeah.
And yet people go, 10 years from now, you're going to look back and you go, what would define that series? St. Louis was hammering them and physical, and they won the series. And I would say St. Louis outplayed them for most of the series, and that speaks to how good the team is.
It's interesting how
they found a way to win.
That's right. It's interesting how, when presented with evidence about size not being the be end and end all in the National Hockey League, it's just, as we're talking, those goalposts just keep getting kicked further and further back. The definition of what you mean by size keeps changing. Now, and I say all that with also the understanding that size is important. It is important. Clearing the front of the net, stuff like that, winning along winning board battles, all that stuff. It's important. Size has its place. Every National Hockey League team they can't be out there with guys that are all 5'4". That's not going to work.
If they didn't have a ton of chances, I would say they might need more size to create those chances. They had a ton of chances and couldn't bury them.
But it is greatly overrated. Now we will take you live to